Good morning, students. Moving ahead with the online classes of Mother of India Public School with Economics of Class 12, we are studying Chapter 3 of Indian Economic Development. Students, we have already discussed Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3 in which we have discussed various reforms, problems and features. Moving ahead, we'll in this Part 4, we'll discuss about the achievements and its failures. So students, let's start. Achievements of agrarian reforms. We have already discussed that three reforms were there. Technical reforms were there, institutional reforms were there, and few of the general reforms were there. With these reforms, there was tremendous increase in the rise of this food production, and this tremendous increase in the rise of food production is termed to be as the Green Revolution. And yes, students, Green Revolution was one of the major achievements of this agrarian reform that comprises of two phases. It started in 1967 till 1968 and it was into two phases. In the first phase, it was in mid-60s to mid-70s where the scope was restricted to wheat and rice because that are most important, you can say, staple food that every Indian possesses, every Indian have it. So the rice in these two crops were basic mode. So in the states of Punjab, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, it was there. Moving ahead on to the second phase, that is mid-70s and mid-80s, it widespread so far that it covered all over the country. So, what all benefits did we get with the Green Revolution? By using XIV seeds, chemical fertilizers, modern inputs, your consolidated holdings and what not. What benefits did we get? The very first benefit we get was the spurt in crop productivity, that is rise in the food production. Children, that is what we required. So it led to the structural shift where the farmers were growing only one crop. Now they were into the multiple cropping, step farming and what not. Moving ahead, substantial rise in productivity was there. Area under cultivation was increased. HYV seeds reduced the time lag between sowing and harvesting. Prior, the farmers had to wait. There was a, you can say, seasonal unemployment, you can say, at the time between the sowing and the harvesting. Now it was overcome. Then a shift from subsistence farming to commercial farming. As the surplus of crop production was there with them, so it gave them a thought process, it changed their thought process and they started towards the commercial outlook also, and the surplus was sold into the market, and with that they were easily able to repay their loans. Next is change in farmers' outlook. With that, their life changed. With the commercial thought process, they started upbringing their good life and their life started changing. And most important, self-sufficiency in food grain production. We were self-sufficient to help our country. Now we don't have to rely on any other country for any other support. We are ready to face all our natural disasters and calamities. And you could have easily seen now that if any of the natural calamity hits any of our state, we are ready to provide them with food grains. So we have excess of buffer stock with us. So these were few of the benefits that we get with the Green Revolution. Green means crop and revolution means spurt, that is the rise process. Now, when there are benefits, there are limitations also. With the limitations, there needs generate to improve also. So, the very first limitation is that limited crops. They say that the Green Revolution was only, you can say, stick to the few of the crops, wheat and rice. But other major crops that were jute, pulses, cotton, they lagged behind. There was no such revolutionary concept, or you can say such great rise in crop productivity was we can see over in that part. So it was for the limited crops only. Else than that, uneven spread. They were spread in Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, states like that. But Eastern UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, they lagged. These zones lagged. They couldn't, you can say that, couldn't have privilege to have this green revolution concept, or you can say not evenly spread. Other than that, limited farming population. See students, it is not like that everybody is doing in the rural sector, everyone is into farming. There are limited marginal farmers also who are into this. Marginal farmers means they have little money with them, those who cannot spend much of the money in purchasing these expenses, HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, inputs, and so these expensive HYV technology is beyond this marginal farmers, and they had to sustain with the old output only. So limited farming population is there who are able to afford these modern technology. Understood? Moving ahead with that, automatically there becomes an economic divide. Prior it was a gulf between landlords and tenants. Now it is a gulf between, you can say, the rich and the poor farmers. Those who can sustain or who can afford the higher technology things like HYV seeds, and they can do crop production with them, they are becoming richer and richer. They have surplus amount of crop production with them, but those who cannot, they are still living beyond the substantial living only, and they had to depend on various of the other inputs prior. So economic divide was there between rich and poor farmers. Now when there is benefits, there are limitations also, and with the limitations there again a question arises that does India need another green revolution? Are we, it is the, you can say, a question to understand, are we there still at the note of making another green revolution? So here the answer is yes. It is generally basic need now, it is that there should be another green revolution. Why is it so? Because the population has increased to a riser in part other than things. First thing, why it is required? Because the productivity standards are still very low. Though everything is there, but still there are marginal farmers who cannot afford all these things. So inclusively, if we calculate everything, productivity is still low. Food grain stock are at the point of uncertainty because of the increasing population. Moreover, most farmers still face weather uncertainties as irrigation facilities are very expensive, so still they have to face under the problems of weather conditions. Other than that, unprofitable subsistence farming. They are into the subsistence farming, as when they are not able to get excess of the surplus crop production, they have to sustain that for their own only, family only. Then this all tends to increase in loan trap also. When a person is not able to cope up with these limitations, ultimately they'll have to be into this loan trap also. So there is again a lead into the green revolution which we have to take into consideration. So students, in this part we have discussed the achievements, your benefits, your limitations, and a question we have discussed, that do we need another green revolution? So with this, we have come to end of this chapter, chapter number 3. In the next lecture, we'll start with chapter number 4. Till then, thank you.